Hey everyone, number 53 on my list of 100 greatest songs of all time is Strangers by the Kinks. Um, the Kinks were the original Oasis in the sense that they had two brothers in a band who boxed heads off each other every once in a while. And you had the front man and the guitarist, but you also had the overlap of the guitarist sometimes singing and writing the odd song, and the front man uh, in the background, but he being the principal songwriter, Ray Davis, he wrote all the ones that you would imagine off the Kinks, Lola and All Day and All Night and Dedicated Follower of Fashion, all those songs, right? Uh, but Dave Davis, who's the guitarist, who really revolutionized electric guitar playing in the 60s by basically taking a razor blade to his amp and slashing the speaker, creating that kind of fuzziness that you hear on the early Kinks songs like All Day and All Night, All Day and All of the Night, and You Really Got Me, those songs. And that in itself is quite a feat. But Ray Davis was the songwriter and he was the one front and center, I suppose. He was playing rhythm guitar and singing the songs. But Dave, in the background, was writing his own songs, and in 1970 he wrote "Strangers," and it was on the album. I can never remember the name of the full album, but Lola is in the title. Lola's on the album, and it's I wasn't really into the Kinks growing up, but I had this best of, and it was very limited best of. Not me not knowing at the time that it was a limited best of, but it had all the kind of early Kinks stuff, like I just mentioned on it, and it didn't really go into, like, Lola wasn't on it, for instance, so it didn't really go past the late 60s. It didn't go into 1970 and beyond, so I didn't really hear any of that kind of more grown up sounding Kinks. So I never had the chance to really like them, I was always like, listening to Beatles and the Stones and that kind of those 60s bands, but never really digging deep into the Kinks. And then, so one day, however many years ago now, The Jarling Limited came out. It's a Wes Anderson film about three brothers going to, I can't remember where they're going to, a funeral, I think. And they're traveling through India on a train, and Strangers is on the soundtrack, and it comes on at a pivotal moment in the screenplay. And I had no idea that it was the Kinks because I wouldn't have had any way to link it up, because I knew Ray Davis's voice and I didn't really know Dave Davis's voice that much. And it's an acoustic song, so there's no, like, overdrive or fuzzy sounding guitars like they have in their other songs. But Dave Davis is the most peculiar sound, and the peculiar range in his voice. And it's one of those songs that makes me really sad that I don't have the range that he has, that I'm not able to sing this. And obviously I could drop the key and all that, but that's kind of not really the point. But it's quite Dylan-y in just the. That's the verses. Strangers on this world we are, but we are not two, we are one. But that's just the two lines of the chorus, and I'm straining to get there. But it's supposedly about a friend from school who died of a drug overdose, and the separation between the two and the two different ways that people can go. It works really well in the film because the three brothers are kind of, there's a gap, there's a, like families do, they, as they grow older, they kind of move away from each other before having to come back for, like, big events like weddings and funerals and stuff like that. So it perfectly fit into the film. But the opening chorus is verse is "Where are you going? I don't mind. I've killed my world and I've killed my time. So where do I go? What do I see? I see many people coming after me. So where are you going to? I don't mind. If I live too long, I'm afraid I'll die. So I will follow you wherever you go. If your offered hand is still open to me, strangers on this road we are not two, we are one. Um, and it's a little bit further down. Holy man and holy priest, this love of life makes me weak in my knees. And when we get there, make your play, 'cause soon I feel you're going to carry us away. In a promised lie you made us believe. For many men there is so much grief, and my mind is proud, but it aches with rage. And if I live too long, I'm afraid I'll die. Strangers on this road we are not two, we are one. It's incredible songwriting from, particularly on the side of melody. I'm not going to sing it, but on the side of melody and on the lyric side. And you wonder, I suppose, bring it back to the Beatles. It's not the first time that's happened. It won't be the last. But bring it back to the Beatles and the idea of George Harrison being left in the background, and every so often, like on this album that I'm talking about for the Kinks, Dave Davis has only got 2 songs on it, and that's like George Harrison's kind of limit on most albums, except for the I think Rivalry's got 3, and the White Album's got 4, but it's a double album, so it's really like 2 aside. Dave Davis didn't quite get the chance to show off his songs because Ray was there. Ray is a brilliant songwriter. Like, I'm not like putting down his songwriting in any way. If you listen to something like Waterloo Sunset by the Kinks, that's just an incredible piece of writing. And a lot of his songs are like that. Lola's got some great lyrics in it. And they were pioneers at the time of that kind of almost grungy sound in the 60s. But it took me, many years to get to Strangers. And it's still, every time I listen to it, the hairs stick up on the back of the neck. I didn't, when I was watching the Jarling Limited, it wasn't like the song struck me as a beautiful piece of work, but I hadn't had time to study the lyrics and all that, and even realize that it was about someone he knew and someone that was lost to drug addiction. And then it adds that extra weight to the song, and it means so much to a songwriter to kind of be able to write about those things. But like, we've all been touched by these certain things in our lives, and I think Strangers is such a heavy song, and it's very, very haunting, and it's beautifully produced as well, so that's another thing that's kind of on top of it. But I think Dave Davis's voice adds an awful lot to it, that almost stretch to a limit of what he can do without switching to falsetto, because there's a couple of bits where I think some singers would. He doesn't. He strains his voice to get there. So if you don't know it, I'm glad that I can introduce you to it. So yeah, Strangers by the Kinks. Thank you very much. Bye.